This is a charity interview.
People like, oh, it would be so hard to undo all the corruption that exists within the system. No, it's actually relatively easy.
Oh, I need to hear this. How?
It's not America first to set the conditions that will later harm America.
Yeah. Just creating new terrorists for the future.
I think that's right. And look, I mean, anybody who is honest and looks at what's happening in Gaza right now has got to be absolutely sickened by it.
That's where the hollow earth theory starts coming in.
So just another
provide the other
but
end of that.
Hollow earth is they're
hollow
saying
flat earth.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
Have you ever read about the reasons they attacked us? They attack us because we've been over there.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
what do you want to do?
I don't know, T. Let's just go fucking start the show.
What is up, everyone? It is Scagz here, and thank you for watching the Two Do Men podcast. No captain tonight. I am joined instead by the king of the trash realm, the latest refugee in the great state of Connecticut from the Bronx, Grizz. How you doing, man?
What's going on, brother? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, of course. We'll be talking some politics tonight. It is, Captain could not be here, but it is his birthday. For his birthday, I got him a new intro to the show, as he's been begging me to do. Recently, I added a little bit of our Sopranos episode and whatnot there, so I'm having a good laugh about that. Happy birthday, Captain. We'll be hanging out with the Captain. Yeah, we'll be hanging out with him Saturday and drinking some booze, maybe doing another Doomed review with the boys in person and all that jazz. So I really did want to do another episode this week because there's a lot of interesting shit going on. I'm going to stay away from the foreign policy aspect of things tonight for the most part, I think, and talk a little bit about Trump and some domestic stuff going on. A lot of a big criticism of Trump lately, like no matter what side you're on of the foreign policy spectrum thing, is like people are just starting to get fucking tired of everything being about foreign policy. And it's like, hey, there's a lot of like angst and shit going on here at home. Like, can we get the administration to kind of focus a bit on the domestic stuff at the moment? So it does seem like the past week things have kind of shifted over in that regard. And so Jamie, I'm interested to have you on for this one because you're not as plugged into everything that's going on here, all moments of every single day, the way I am. So you'll kind of give that perspective. Now, you're not also just a complete normie, blue pilled or anything like that, but you're more so of like, you're just a normal person who's not a political podcaster reading the news every single day with some really kind of strong, well thought out opinion on every little tiny micro transaction.
That just
happens.
Just more of a generalizer of what a broad stroke type of thing.
So I want to talk about Trump was on we're going to play a couple things. Trump was he had an interview with Laura Ingraham on Fox News. I think he probably recorded it a couple days ago, but it came out yesterday. Talking about some domestic policy and the H-1B visa, which are going to really focus on a lot here in regards to immigration and the H-1B visa. And then that'll be kind of the main topic, which I think we'll get most of the show about. Second topic I wanted to talk about was a story that buried in the news cycle. right? And that is a report or an article that came out in theBlaze, which is like a conservative right-wing publication about January 6th and the pipe bomber. If you don't remember that on January 6th, in addition to the whole Capitol riot thing and everything that went on, there was like a person who planted a pipe bomb at the DNC and I think at the RNC headquarters. And it was, they were caught on camera. They were obviously incognito, but like years later, we don't know jack fucking shit about came of it.
Either of them. Yeah.
Right. Until theBlaze wrote this article the other day, which has a lot of interesting information in it. So I'll read some of that and we'll kind of get to it. It'll be kind of a little bit of ironic because we did an episode a long time ago, way back in the day with the last slice about all that. But okay, that's for later. I got tweets of the week. Tweets of the week are returning as well to the Two Do Men podcast. Last thing, I am talking to Zach, the Unfit Statesman. He might be making an appearance on the Two Do Men podcast again in the near future.
Nice.
Trying to get him back in the game here. He has not been making any content lately, but we'll maybe be having him on in the future. So, all right, man, let's jump into it. Did you see the video that I sent you earlier today? Did you watch it yet or no?
Which one? The one with
the one here of Trump?
No, I didn't watch that one.
Okay, good.
I was reading I read the article about the January 6th.
Pipe bomber. All right. Yeah. So again, like I said before, Trump was on Laura Ingraham's show, and I'll give Laura Ingraham credit here. She pushed back on him and gave a pretty decent interview, asking some important questions about domestic economics and things like that, and the H-1B visa. I also made this clip and posted it to our channels. I went out of my way here just so because a lot of even Captain's saying lately, I'm too tough on Trump, or I've even had a couple people say, hey, you guys are really tough on Trump lately in the administration. Okay, but like I also went out of my way in this regard to find the full length of the clip to give Trump the chance to have the whole context, where I saw that this clip being circulated primarily was only like 40 seconds, which is the full context. The full context is like a minute and 20 seconds. So to those who want to say I'm being too hard on him or trying to manipulate things too much against Trump, I'm not. I always try to make sure I give the man his due and proper and give the full context of what it is he was saying. So, okay, he's on Laura Ingraham. She asked him a couple of good questions about the H-1B visa in particular. I'm going to play it, and then we'll kind of give our thoughts after.
There's never going to be a country like what we have right now.
And does that mean
the Republicans have to talk about it? Laura.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here.
No, you don't have. You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
I'll
give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. Making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
All right. Before I go and poison the well with my own opinion, I kind of want to get your unfiltered, unbiased, unpoisoned reaction to that, especially the part where she says, like, no, we have plenty of talented people here, and he says, no, you don't.
Yeah.
What are your kind of reaction to all that?
Yeah, I think that's just like an undercutting of Americans, by saying that, it's that argument of that, Americans are lazy. Americans, they're not willing to work hard, or not willing to, and it's just interesting because we, our education system, especially like with top universities, are not bad. I mean, a lot of people, flee countries to come to our colleges and our universities to learn, so it's like, it's kind of interesting, him saying that. But the way I think, the way I see it, the way, it's kind of like a shield for billionaires and people who own companies, right? Because it's cheap. It's cheap for them to get these, H-1B visas workers over, they're not even competing with American salaries. And the American salaries is also, you know, on top of the universities, right? They're expensive as well because it's the ROI, the return on investment. That it's under, you know, it's supposed to be, yeah, you do 20, 30 years, you'll be able to pay back those loans. And so with that, you need the salaries to upkeep so that they can pay off and also have a livable wage. I don't know. It's kind of like, you know, you're getting all these people over here for cheap labor. That's the way I see it.
I will, again, just to be fair, I do think that part of the H-1B reform stuff Trump has done is add a literal $100,000 fee to each H-1B visa.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly cheap. I think there are problems with the concept of $100,000 fee tied to an H-1B visa. Like, now that might prevent more people from being able to get the visa, but I also view that as like the only people then that would be able to even afford an H-1B visa are like gigantic tech companies. And that
exactly
will probably consider that part of that employee's compensation or deal, in a sense, making them a slave to the tech company for a certain period of time. But let me rewind real quick and let me give you kind of my initial emotional asshole take when I heard Trump say that, like, no, we don't have enough talented people here. And then I'll give you my more logical take after, because this is the range of emotions I went through. Like, just being, you know, me, like being kind of like a red-blooded American dude.
Yeah,
I was pretty fucking annoyed by that comment that, like, no, you know, we don't have enough talented people here. I disagree with that outright. There are a lot of reasons why you might think that is the case, which I can get into, but I want to stick to kind of just strictly my criticism of that comment. Like, let's put aside, like, after the first 10 minutes of me being annoyed by that comment, now let me think about it rationally and put like my political gamesmanship hat on here. Like, bro, you're selling yourself, Donald Trump, as the America First candidate, the guy with all that swagger and energy. America's back, baby. Make America great again. We're going to help all these American people. That is a very kind of like sloppy comment, a sloppy message to be selling those very same people that, like,
and to double down on that statement too is kind of a little bit like from the president of the United States.
From
it's
him,
like,
specifically. That's the president.
Yeah.
Like, if Biden said something like that, I'd get it. Trump's whole energy is America, baby. Let's go. We're the fucking best. Everyone here is the best. We're the best country in the world. And he's like, by the way, we don't have enough talented people at the same time. It's like, who are you trying to, like, appease? We just came off of an election, a local election cycle where Democrats kind of ran the table. And then we got midterms coming up here. Like, again, I'm sticking to strictly political theory gamesmanship here. X's and O's of chess. I'm not talking about like what I even believe.
Strategy.
You think strategy? Like, do you think that sort of comment is going to like help the Republican in Trump's case or hurt them in the midterms? I don't think it's going to help them.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think it's I don't know. It's like, it's, you know, even as the president of the United States, man, you got to keep your countrymen and women up 100%, and always, you know, even though, granted, because that's all goes into analytics and statistics about, like, you know, how much talent do we have, essentially. I don't know. You know what I mean? It could be true. It might not be true. I don't know. And I'm not going to speak on that. However, as a president of the United States or a president of a country, you want to build your people. Like you said, America first. Where is that energy? What happened? And like you said, who are you? I think it's just, for me personally, it's him protecting the billionaire owners for these tech companies or whatever other company that they're getting all these H-1B visas, all these workers into the United States. It that 100K, you know, stamp on it. I mean, you go to a company like Google pay that shit. That's a penny to them. Like you said, we own you. You know what I mean? And now your salary, you're not even competing with American salaries. You know,
of course, like that is a job in theory that could go to an American person, but now in the sense you've paid $100,000, sure, but you've got like an indentured slave from India or whoever, right?
Or like Apple, right? Apple, for instance. I mean, I don't know how true this is, so don't come at me. But I'm saying, I read this a long time ago. But Apple sits on like a shit ton of cash.
Ton of cash, yeah.
Like $500 billion in cash.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, this is what we're talking about. This is the level of wealth. And now, if you go into the medical industry, let's talk about Pfizer. $3 trillion. It's nothing. That stuff is nothing to them.
Right, they can afford it.
They're going to go to the bottom line every single time. What's not going to cost them money? And let's be real. I think that they are under the assumption, or they just, because it's all about numbers to them. Americans to them cost too much money, and they have to cut costs. Look at all the layoffs that are happening right now. The job market is crazy.
It is.
People are getting unemployed left and right in the thousands. And now with AI creeping in, let's see what happens.
And again, it's like I said before at the beginning, it's a frustration definitely kind of mounting, and people trying to signal Trump, like, can we pivot to some domestic issues here? I think, again, if we want to scratch a little bit of a layer deeper here regarding this topic specifically. I've seen now. I titled an episode of this concept, right? Like, is America an economic zone, or is it a nation state? And I've seen a lot of people like discussing this on X and kind of debating this lately. And what I mean by that is like, look, Donald Trump, your energy is America first. I'm going to help Americans, right? But this has the energy of like, you're treating America as an economic zone where like, well, what we're doing here is trying to help out big corporations who need, let's say, higher skilled tech labor from India, and that will help them, their bottom line. And these American companies are going to do better. Therefore, America first. I don't know if that's America first. That's not the way I view America first, right? The way I view America first is like, and as a libertarian, even so this isn't perfect libertarian world stuff, but the people who live there, me and you, that were like blood and soil, we are American folk. Are you doing things that help American people, or are you doing things that are for the economic zone of America? I guess an argument could be made, play the devil's advocate of that like trickle down economics, that like if we help Apple and Google grow bigger, those jobs will trickle down to Americans. Yeah, but the problem is though that you're allowing them to import more foreign, tech labor to take those jobs. So I'm not sure exactly if any of these kind of moves are going to actually like meaningfully really help your average American Joe person. Now, if you want to get into the X's and O's as to like, he's saying Americans, they're on the unemployment line for 5 years. They're going to be able to take a tech job making batteries or making missiles. I mean, like, my goodness, immediately we have to pivot to like making weapons to kill people. Is that all we could do here in America? So, but let's even put that aside. What are the reasons why, right? Well, the reasons why are 30 plus years of bullshit deals, trade deals that hollowed out the manufacturing base in America, like NAFTA, sent factories overseas. The government, you mentioned universities before. The government and universities are, in a sense, one and the same. They're all getting money from the government. These universities in the United States are basically left-wing institutions that are pushing woke garbage and like liberal arts majors. They're not prioritizing like engineering and practical things anymore. So that is also a problem leading to like, why are there not more American folk who are good enough to have some of these jobs? It's like, well, the government's been funding these fucking factories of left-wing nonsense. Those are hard problems to fix. They are. I'm not saying they're not. But they're fundamental problems that we have to fix. And if you're going to sell me that we're going to put America first, and this is going to be the new golden age, XYZ, well, then you should be trying to fix some of those fundamental fucking issues, especially when like Trump and the left-wing universities, they don't agree. He hates them, right? But like, go and take that on, man. Instead, you're selling us, well, no, actually, we need more immigration. We need more H-1B visas in order to help out Apple and Google. It's a very odd message to sell Americans. I think it's going to be really hard to convince like your people like me who are way too plugged in, and you're kind of like your right-wing base, but then even your less plugged in people who are conservative and whatnot, they're going to see that and just be like, what are you talking about? Like, if you are trying to make some 4D chess argument, that behind this, that it actually is going to help you in the long run, just trust me, bro. You got to do better than that. What he said there. That ain't convincing anyone. So when I'm trying, so I'm not giving Trump the benefit of doubt. I'm just trying to cover both sides of the thing here. It ain't looking good going into midterms at this point. It really ain't. Unless they kind of get some better messaging and some better coaches. Unless they lie to us a little bit better from my point of view, they're going to get fucking trounced. And why is that? Because I think the energy on the right wing is going to be like, this is bullshit. This is not what I fucking voted for.
How about this one? I mean, let's, I know you didn't want to get into it, but like this ties into this just a little bit, slightly.
Sure.
In the the way I see it, right?
Yes.
The 50-year mortgage is just a slave to the banks.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah,
so
which is another thing.
Here?
He proposed, right? That that he proposed opening up an idea of a 50-year mortgage. And I saw a lot of people who are defending him, like, you don't have to get that. Do you understand that, like, the government are the ones who set the parameters for what kind of mortgage you even can get? Like, do you think it's an accident that there's a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year ARM? Do you think those are free market inventions or things that even the banks came up with? I'm not saying the banks don't have no hand in that, right? But those are like government regulations.
Yeah.
That these are the parameters of mortgage you have. Right. Yeah. And that's what he's selling to us. Like, no, a 50-year mortgage that will give people a chance to, younger people to get a chance to get their foot in the door to get a mortgage. Yeah, and won't be in debt to the bank of slavery for 50 years. Right. You might die before you even pay off that mortgage. On top of the fact that, like, do you understand how interest works? You're going to end up paying, let's say your house, right? The house price is already fucking inflated, as me and here in Connecticut, right? For a wide variety of reasons. But now you're going to make the interest rate even more. So an inflated home that's maybe should cost $300,000 costs $800,000. Now a 50-year fucking mortgage on that $800,000. Oh, at the end of the day, you're going to end up paying probably like $2 million for an $800,000 home. Like, is that a good deal? Is that going to help the American average Joe young guy?
Is that American first?
What kind of wealth can you expect some young family now to turn over to their children 60 years from now? Nothing, right? Because they've been bled dry by the banks. But the banks will do great. They're definitely probably pushing. The government, they're probably the ones who fucking propose that and are pushing for it.
The government, the way the government's operating lately to me, is like the end of Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. You win nothing, sir. Good day. Like, that's all it is. It's like, fuck you. We don't care. So, and this is, the state of where our country is right now, currently. It's, everything, just the facet of everything is just absolutely insane.
Sell it to me better.
With the job market, salaries aren't increasing, homes are going skyrocketing, 50-year fucking mortgages, but at least the White House is going to look nice in the next 5 years,
and look, and look, I'm not even against that stuff, because that kind of points back into what I'm saying here. Like,
I'm being facetious.
Yeah. But see, but this points back into what I'm saying about kind of like Trump's energy. I do think fundamentally Trump understands that, like, part of like getting our fucking mojo back here is like leaning into some of the Americana type stuff, like fixing the bathroom and making the White House look really cool. Now, I might look again fundamentally or philosophically a little bit differently at that, right? But like getting our mojo back here means leaning into some of our like founding myths and stories and things, because that's what brings a nation together. But at the same time, so he understands that concept, but then at the same time, he's kind of like selling out the actual blood and soil American to, I don't know.
Yeah, but like,
visa immigration stuff.
Because the whole thing that on X that I've been seeing is this reconstruction of the White House, and people blew it up. Like they I know it's like, well, I'm just being facetious with that comment, but at the same time, it's like that's the main coverage that I've been seeing on X. It's just this fucking, I didn't look for it. It just started popping up. People were like, oh my God, he's making, look into Trump, the hotels and stuff like that. And it's like you just said, you had an article buried, right? But that's the thing that people are focused on. But like, there's something way more important that we should be worried about, is something like that, and everybody, cause for concern. Like, wait, what are we talking about here? How true is this? Like, and have people investigate or go further into, figuring out the truth. But that's just where we're at, man. Just certain things just pop, certain things don't. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to wonder how much of that's legit people are outraged how much are like controlled by the algorithm. So sticking with this, the day after, I think it's actually today. It's from this morning. Somebody who I like, Scott Bessent. He is the Treasury Secretary. He goes on Fox News, and I feel like this is him trying to clean up a bit of that comment for Trump the day before. So I want to play this. And then I got another clip after this of Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary.
There's 20, 30 years, we have offshored precision manufacturing jobs. And the president's point here is, we can't snap our fingers and say, you're going to learn how to build ships overnight. We want to bring semiconductor industry back to the U.S. There are going to be big facilities in Arizona. So I think the president's vision here is to bring in overseas workers where these jobs went.
Who have skills.
Who have the skills, 3, 5, 7 years to train the U.S. workers. Then they can go home. The U.S. workers fully take over.
So do you understand the concern that people have? Hey, an American can have that job. Why you give it to a guy from
But an American can have that job.
So it's specific skills.
Because we haven't built ships in the U.S. for years. We haven't built semiconductors. So this idea of overseas partners coming in, teaching American workers, then returning home, that's a home run.
Gotcha. Mr. Secretary.
Look, Scott Bessent, I think, is a smart dude. I don't see it. So what he's trying to spin it as, well, we need to import kind of like a training force.
Yeah, no, that's
to right, like, all right, on what, H-1B visas? That again, this is not now in a sense the H-1B visa is a government program, but it's going to be like the companies are going to be sponsoring the H-1B visas. These people from overseas are going to go work for Apple, Google, or a manufacturing industry that's going to make ships or whatever you want to say. Like, so then what? After the 5 years, are we saying that we're going to try and deport all these people? These people are not going to be interested in wanting to stay. This you're not like the government's not going to have direct control over that, because the company that hired them to work there, they're going to be employees for. They're going to have paid that fee, and they're going to be interested in whatever, like we said before, maybe some sort of this odd form of indentured servitude. Now, before I make any more points on this, because before you all forget what Bessent just said, I want to go to the next clip, which is literally the exact same channel, Fox News, on the exact same day, talking about the exact same topic. This is another member of the Trump administration, as I said before, Kristi Noem, being asked about this.
What is the administration's position on these visas?
No, we're going to keep using our visa programs. We're just going to make sure that they have integrity, that we're actually doing the vetting of the individuals who come into this country, that they want to be here for the right reasons, that they're not supporters of terrorists and organizations that hate America. And that's what I think is so remarkable is under the Trump administration, we've sped up our process and added integrity to the visa programs, to green cards, to all of that. But also more people are becoming naturalized under this administration than ever before. More people are becoming citizens because we're not just streamlining and building some processes back into our immigration policies. We're also making sure that these individuals that are coming into our country and get that privilege, that they actually are here for the right reasons. The Biden administration let thousands of terrorists into this country. They opened the southern border. They abused our asylum programs, abused our protective programs and visa programs, and we fixed all of it. It's remarkable what President Trump has done, and it's because he's a great leader. He's a visionary, and this man is going to go down as a legend.
Okay, so Scott Bessent is telling you, no, don't worry. We're just bringing him in here to train everyone. Kristi Noem is telling you, actually, we've improved the process so much that we're adding more people who are going to become naturalized citizens in the future. So they have two people on the same channel from the administration the same day telling you two completely different things. And this goes back to my question before. What is America? Is it an economic zone or is it a nation state? Are you guys doing things that are going to be in the benefit of economics and the corporations? Or are you doing things that are going to be in the benefit of blood and soil people, American people? What do you think?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm like, even since you said it, I've been thinking about it. I don't know. I think Are you asking in terms of like the administration, or
I'm just asking
what
for
we
your
are right
opinion
now,
as
as a
more
whole?
of a more of a normie than
Or
me after
normie?
watching this. More of a normie
I mean,
than me after watching this stuff.
The way I see it on a surface level, just certain situations and events and how this country operates currently is definitely more in the economic standpoint more than anything else than actually being nation. It's just I don't see it. There is no, and this on both sides too. This is not like a Republican or a Democratic thing. It's like more of like, this is more of a nation, of being proud. Like you said, like the whole slogan was America first, and now I don't see that. I don't see any side protecting the the common man or the American citizen that's struggling right now.
Yeah, like they're just not paying attention.
Everything
to,
is just based off of resources and resources for these companies to obtain more assets, with the mindset of the trickle down economics, But it's just like, my question is, because I know we touched, this, and I know you don't want to talk about the whole thing that happened with New York City and stuff, because you covered it. But like, at what point, the whole, when I was on the Halloween thing, my whole point for the way,
I remember most of that, by the way, because I was pretty fucking drunk.
I was pretty fucking drunk too, and I wasn't trying to get my point across. But my whole essential point was, like, at some point, the reason why that happened in New York City is, can we admit that like capitalism right now is not the capitalism that we learned about?
Well, it's not capitalism.
It's crony capitalism,
sure, yeah.
right? So like, if that failed, like it failed the people, like that's what's failing us in whole. If you think about it, it's like these people are saying, yeah, we got the best interest for you. We're going to make sure that groceries are going to go down or stay, stay stationary, or the gas is going to be. It's like Americans are more focused on those things. There's no reason why people should be working 2 to 3 jobs, or both parties should be fucking working at that point. We have it a lot harder than fucking our parents and our grandfathers. Not our grandfathers, but like our parents had it way better than us. They had a lot more opportunities, and they can, raise a family off of a single,
they had a more kind of sound economic situation in the United States at the time. I caution saying they had it easier than us. I think it was just different. Like dude,
I'm sorry.
It's harder for us, but in a different way.
I will die on that hill.
I'm just saying it's harder for us in a different way.
It's a lot more difficult, dude, because you need 2 parties to be going into work. Right.
Yeah.
Right,
and these are all caused by, again, underlying like problems that are going to be difficult to fix. And again, Trump's coming along selling himself as the guy who's going to fix all these problems. But what I'm trying to say here is he's just selling you more of the same shit. He's just dressing it up in different rhetoric. And what's ironic is that the rhetoric is no, we're going to put America first. But then it comes back to, again, like, what are you talking about? What is America?
Yeah, and like you said,
is America an economic zone, or is it people who live here? Right? Maybe we need to start calling it Americans first.
Well, let me ask you
and not America first. I want
to ask you this question, because like I said, I'm like surface level. What the White House, their propaganda, their videos are, I got it, top tier. They marketed about the Christians. It was the defense secretary about the Christians who are getting killed and murdered at like alarming rates in Africa. What country is that? Nigeria. Okay. I got a question. Do you think that is because it's Christians getting murdered at an alarming rate, or because Nigeria holds a lot of resources that the Americans can use?
So I haven't really.
It's a sick question.
I have an opinion. I will preface it by saying I haven't dug enough into that topic to really understand exactly what's going on there. I've only just kind of briefly seen surface level stuff. I do find the topic suspect because a lot of the people that are now, I'm not even saying that Christians are not being killed in Nigeria, or that there isn't some sort of genocidal aspect or intent by the kind of the militant Islamic, population in Nigeria. What I'm saying is I don't know. But what immediately does make me suspect of that whole story is that a lot of the people pushing it were the pro-Israel Zionist crowd, and they were pushing it originally in the context of, you see, you guys don't actually really care about genocide because you're not focused on this genocide of your own people, Christians in Nigeria. You're only focused on like what you claim to be a genocide of the Palestinians, and you're only really focused on that because you're anti-Semitic and you hate Jews. Now, that's not true. We're not anti-Semitic and we don't hate Jews. So it just seemed to me like they're trying to grasp at some other thing to use as like you see, I gotcha sort of counter narrative thing. Now that's just kind of, again, I haven't dug into it. I don't know. It doesn't even mean that that's actually, it doesn't even mean that that's actually not happening. The genocide could be happening in Nigeria, and then those people are just also using it as you see, you gotcha, and like we didn't really even know that was happening until somebody pointed it out here. So that's kind of my take on that in general. I don't know if that answered your original question, but
no, yeah, I just because anything, it was just like, out of nowhere, because we've been aware about this situation for a while, and now all of a sudden it's like, well, we got to, take a stand, and then I think, it's like the Crusades all over again. It's like, what is happening here? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like, is this going to be a resource war? Are we going to, suffocate them for all their resources, whatever they may have, because they, might, they have the, cobalt mines in Africa and all those things.
Yeah.
And cobalt is something that is used in our day-to-day activity with all our electronics and, new, electric cars and stuff, because, the people in, this part of the area, they need to drive their Teslas and shit, because it's better for Earth, but then fly on private planes. But so it's like, what's that about? And it goes to the whole like thing that we're saying. It's like, are things being done sincerely? With the actual like with morals and ethics, right? It's because they present it as like, there's Christians getting fucking genocided right now. But then this is where I'm at with the government. Then there's these people in the black room. They get together. It's like, well, we'll tell them this, but secretly, let's go to the cobalt mines. Just like how are we going to build
public support for
just like we have patrols in
Iraq.
Afghanistan by the poppy fields? We're going to go to these cobalt mines and we're going to turn it over from the Chinese, and now it's going to be ours.
Right. But again, how do we gather public support for an invasion of Iraq? Well, we have to sell them some story of some made up shit that will make them support it. I wanted to stay away from foreign policy, but again, foreign policy it's fine.
I apologize.
It's interrelated. It's interrelated to all this shit, right? Because when the government's focused on foreign policy, they're not focused on our own domestic issues and making Americans' lives better. Again, if this is happening, I don't know for certain. I'm not in Nigeria. I haven't read enough about it, but I of course sympathize with Christians in Nigeria,
absolutely, yeah,
who are being killed by fanatical people. However, though, my concern is America first, Americans first. I don't think it's our place to send a detachment of Marines to Nigeria to intervene, to try and police these people. It's the responsibility of the Nigerian government to put their own people's interests first and police that. So I don't know, maybe, right? But from what I've seen, Trump has made some inflammatory comments towards the government of Nigeria.
Oh yeah,
hopefully that's all the pressure needed to get them to do something about it if it actually is happening. The scenario that you're trying to spin, that rightfully so, maybe there's resources and things there, I think is actually more likely in the Venezuela case. That this whole, and again, I'm not a fucking Nicolas Maduro supporter. I'm not even that opposed to the idea of blowing up the narco boats as they're trying to come over here. However, I think that ultimately a lot of the axe to grind there is with regime change and resources. More so, I think the drug trade thing, not that that's not happening. I think that's more so of like the selling point that's inching us a little bit closer to. Now I do. Anyway, go ahead.
Look what happened in Brazil. I don't know if you read or heard anything about that, where about 1,200 police officers had an extensive raid in the favelas, and they killed about 70 like cartel members in the favelas. Like, I don't know if that's the pressure from the United States government, or like even with Mexico. Oh, even in Mexico too, the the president. She went and was like, well, the United States has no authority to get involved with what happens here or whatever. And I think the pressure is there. It's like, yo, it's either you figure your shit the fuck out or we're going to figure it out for you. So now I'm in the standpoint where it's just like, yeah, I mean, we have an opioid crisis happening in this country, and we all know where it's coming from. It's not like, you know, Mexico definitely knows, right? The president knows that you can't be like, yeah, you have an issue in your home. Now, there's a lot of conversations or questions I can. How do you stop that? Do we pass laws that these drugs are now, not
more
legal,
right?
More illegal, yeah. But you know
right.
what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things stemming from that. But I'm saying the pressure, it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of weird that like that's what I'm for. Even though I'm like country, America first, but that falls on America first.
Well, but that's right. That drug trade is negatively impacting Americans, right?
So I would be, I would agree if the video was towards like the, Mexico or whatever's happening down south. Like, yo, yeah, we'll send the DEA down there. We'll send fucking Marines down there. Like, fuck around and find out. So like, because
I'd lean towards that's more of a defensive action than an offensive action. If done absolutely with genuine intent. Yeah. The point I've made to a couple of people before when they've asked me about Venezuela, I'm like, two things could be true at the same time.
Yeah.
They could be blowing up narcos and trying to kind of like stem the tide of drugs. And they could also be using that as a pretext to regime change war. So that they could get minerals in there. It doesn't mean both things can't be simultaneously true at the same time. I prefer we avoid getting involved in Venezuelan politics and overthrowing their government or whatever, and just, I don't know, trying to address the drug problem because it is affecting Americans. Yeah,
at an alarming rate. And that's just the illegal side. Then you also have the legal side of big pharma getting away with a lot of shit.
Right.
So it's like
these are all tough problems to fix. Yep.
It's like, how do you stop them? You
got
one that's legal. You got one that's legal, and then you got one that's illegal, right? So it's like.
It reminds me of General Wesley Clark back after 9/11. There's that famous clip of him talking about the 7 countries in 5 years.
Yeah.
And he was he asked like, well, when he was told this at the time, he's like, well, did we like find out something about like Saddam and Al Qaeda that they're like working together? And I forgot the other guy he was talking to. It was maybe like another general, a guy who worked at the Pentagon, was like, no, there's nothing new on that. He's like, I guess though, that's like, we have this really big, good military, so we might as well use it and go blow some shit up. Right. And it's like, that's what people at the Pentagon were saying. So that's easier. Like, that's an easier thing to do for the government than to go and address this really, really complex, difficult problem of the tide of drugs that come into America and the fact that people want them. That's not a good thing, but how do we get people to not want them? So there's like a market demand for that. How do we?
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Right. That's a very hard thing to unravel, admittedly so. I don't have the fucking answer, but we got this really good military and Navy. We could go blow up a whole bunch of boats. It's going to look cool as fuck. And we can make videos about it and post them on TikTok and Twitter, and that'll help our poll numbers with the base. That's easy. Right? So it's kind of the way I view it, in my opinion. At least my humble opinion.
I got it. It's all just insane.
Yep. All right, let's before we run out of time, because I want to get to this because it has not been covered whatsoever. This is what I mentioned earlier. This is a Blaze Media article about January 6th. I'm going to read here. I haven't read a lot lately, but bear with me. I think this one's important. Let me read it, and we'll talk about it after. So Blaze Media, former Capitol Police officer, a forensic match for a January 6th pipe bomber, sources say. This is the guy, or I don't know what this is actually.
Woman.
If it's a guy or a girl. It might be a woman.
Shawnee.
Sorry. So computer program that compared the bomb suspect's gait to that of Shawnee Kirkhoff produced a 94% match. Forensic analysis of female former U.S. Capitol Police officer's gait is a 94 to 98% match to the unique stride of the long January 6th pipe bomb suspect, according to Blaze News investigation by several intelligence sources. A source close to the congressional investigation additionally told Blaze News evidence has emerged recently that pointed towards law enforcement possibly being involved in the planting of the pipe bombs. They were fucking in on it, is the quote. A software algorithm that analyzes walking parameters, including flexion, knee bend, hip extension, speed, step length, cadence, and variance, rated Shoni Ray Kirchhoff, 31 of Alexandria, Virginia, as a 94% match to the bomb suspect shown on the video from January 5th, 2021. So, yeah, the bomb was planted the night before January 6th at the there. The veteran analyst who ran the analysis for Blaze News said that based on visual observations, the program can struggle with. He personally pegged the match at closer to 98%. Kirchhoff, who was a Capitol Police officer for 4.5 years, left the department in mid-2021 for security detail at the CIA, sources told Blaze News. CIA spokesperson Liz Lyons stated that the subject worked in campus security. Kirchhoff's resident in Alexandria, Virginia, appeared to be under the watch of law enforcement officers on Friday night. Blaze News editor-in-chief Christopher Bedford was pulled over by a local police officer, after stopping to observe the home. He was then allowed to leave. So this person's home is under surveillance to some extent or another. Close to the bomb suspect, the FBI, which failed to solve the case in nearly 5 years of investigation, but indicated that it was closing in after Blaze News brought its investigation to intelligence sources, was feet from the Falls Church address of the pipe bomb suspect days after January 6th, according to the Blaze News investigation. So the FBI, at the time of, was right there, right next to this person at the time of January 6th, right across the street. Former FBI Special Agent Kyle Serafim, I'm somewhat familiar with this guy. He's a bit of he's not in the FBI anymore. He's a bit of like a FBI whistleblower. He realized Friday that he was doing surveillance next door to the woman now suspected of being the January 6th pipe bomber. His quote is, "The FBI put us one door away from the suspected pipe bomber within days of January 6th, and we were deliberately pulled away for no logical or logically investigative reason," Serafin told the Blaze News Friday. "Everything about that tells me that they were involved in a cover-up and have been since day one. They were fucking in on it," Serafin said. So that was his quote. Serafin proposed doing a knock and talk at the door of an Air Force civilian employee whose address was tied to a vehicle that picked up the bomb suspect in Falls Church, Virginia on January 5th, 2021. Serapin's team spent 2 days watching the man, but Serapin's request to go face-to-face with the person of interest was denied. The team was pulled off the case that same night, he said. So Serapin wanted to kind of confront whatever the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
And as soon as he proposes trying to confront, whoever it was they were following or monitoring, they pull the whole team off the case. Serapin said that he was given the same details publicly since 2021. There's a personal reaction to it, which is the complete vindication that the things I've been saying and my recollection of being briefed on this stuff has been accurate for years. I've never changed my tune, he said. The FBI tied a DC Metro Rail smart tip card allegedly used by the pipe bomb suspect to an Air Force civilian employee, but determined that while the man purchased the card, he did not use it. The suspect allegedly used the card to travel from D.C. to a stop in Falls Church, Virginia, after planting the pipe bombs. The Air Force civilian employee had purchased the card a year earlier. Gate analysis. I do kind of want to read this because this is fucking interesting. The forensic study arranged by Blaze News revealed that Kirchhoff is up to a 98% match to the gait of the pipe bomb suspect. The findings were confirmed by several current intelligence sources who viewed the study results. The source who did the comparison said the software rated the match at 94%. He put the blah, blah, blah. We read this before. Samples of Kirchhoff's gait were taken from January 6th Capitol Police closed-circuit television video and compared to unedited video of the hoodie-wearing suspect walking through an alley near C Street to place an alleged pipe bomb behind the Capitol Hill Club at about 8:16 on January 5th. Two other sources familiar with gait analysis who viewed the video comparison and the software analysis told Blaze News they were concurred that the video samples matched the gait of the gray hoodie-wearing suspect. Okay. I think that's enough reading. First of all, I don't know. I'm not the smartest person in the world, right? So I Googled what even is gait. It's not even a term I was 100% familiar with.
Yeah.
I don't know if you are.
It's walk. It's your walking style.
Like how you walk.
It's how you walk.
Right?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I don't know. Wasn't that familiar with it, right? I could see it's pretty scary that this is the level of kind of technology that we're at now, where you can kind of be identified by software analyzing the style in which you walk.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it. I get it just from even, I don't know, I have cameras around my house, and sometimes I look back at the videos of my stupid ass walking around, and I could kind of like tell I have a style in the way I walk. So I understand how it's possible. It's just scary in one sense that is possible, that you can now literally identify a person who's completely anonymous by the way that they walk. Now imagine when we we intertwine AI with that. My God, you're not getting away with anything anymore. So I kind of just wanted to make that point. That's pretty fucking nuts. This got no coverage though, man. But it seems pretty, I don't know, maybe not conclusive, but man, where there's smoke, there's fire. We talked about January 6th a long time ago. What exactly the fuck was going on there? Capitol Police officer now, it seems like, is the prime suspect for the person who planted the bombs on January 5th. Why were they doing that? A lot of the speculation at the time was that this was a false flag type event, right? We had our own little mock with the Last Slice kind of like analyzation of the speech transcript of Trump, because if you remember at the time, they were trying to say, he planned this insurrection, to overthrow the government, and we kind of went over the transcript of the speech, and we were making the point like, does this sound like someone who's trying to incite violence against the building? And we all honestly approached that. It's just so funny now, years later, everything that he was being accused of in that regard, planning an insurrection, it really does seem like the deep state were behind this. It really just does it. They were the ones planning the insurrection to frame him for it. It's really the 4D chess guys at the end of the day, or whoever were behind this thing. We haven't gotten any answers until years later. Maybe it's been buried in the news. People don't really care that much about January 6th, but it does seem like time has kind of proven out true, our theory at the time, that it was a false flag event. And now we kind of know at least who was behind this. It does seem like a uniformed Capitol Police officer who then went to go work at the CIA afterwards had something to do with it. I mean, is there much more I need to explain to anybody about what was going on there? Now, again, it has to be proven in court. I'm not saying it doesn't, but shit, this seems like it's something. Really does.
Something tangible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why not look into it? Modern day.
Well, it sounds like they are looking into it still actively, the FBI. Again, it's just reason why I wanted to cover this is because it's just not being covered. I haven't seen Trump talk about this himself. Why is that? I don't know. Again, he was framed in from our point of view for insurrection on this. You think he'd be interested in, kind of clearing his name, unless he doesn't want to bring that up, unless he doesn't want to intervene in an active investigation and comment on it.
Because then if he does,
I don't know.
Then he, President of the United States calling out, CIA and FBI not doing their jobs. So that's not a good look. And you're the President of the United States that's attacking your own departments. So it's really just a great, this is what it is. This is how they operate. It's just like, you know what? All right, I got set up, but I got to work with these people.
Right. Goes back to us. And again, I don't mean to be too hard on Trump. This is part of him being framed in this regard, right? But goes back to what I'm saying. I don't know. Those things are really hard things to kind of unravel and fix, right? You want to fix like the CIA. I mean, you got some evidence here that they might be involved. You got some evidence the FBI might be involved. You got some evidence the Capitol Police would be involved. You want to go and like really fix the deep state, the swamp, the people who are behind this shit. It's going to be really, really tough.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like he's interested in doing those fundamental things, honestly. Even when there were things that were targeted at him years later. It's just Epstein's a Democrat hoax. I don't have anything to say now about this pretty outrageous evidence about January 6th, that there was some sort of plot behind it. Tough things. Don't have the political will to do them. I don't know. Come from the same man who's spitting that he has the biggest ego in the world and he's the prime alpha.
Yeah.
Sorry, not meant to be too black-pilled on Trump here. I don't know. Does seem like the deep state was behind the at least antagonizing the crowd, kind of setting the stage for what occurred on January 6th. I think I called it at the time, or like you're familiar, like back in World War II, everything's World War II, right? But when Hitler took over, before World War II, when Hitler and the Nazis kind of seized power, they did so by using a false flag on the Reichstag. So
No.
like the Reichstag is like the Capitol building at the time in Germany. And like Hitler and the Nazis like set fire to the Reichstag, and they kind of blamed it on the communists. And then they used that as like part of their reasoning as to why they had to like seize power, emergency authority, and take over. Now, at the time, the Democrats were framing it as this is Trump's Reichstag moment. He and his Nazis are trying to attack the Capitol building in order to use it in this event to seize power. I remember I was making the point at the time, actually, it seems like you guys are the Nazis who framed, like, set fire to the Capitol building in order to convince everyone, you see, this other side is trying to seize power, and we need to use emergency powers now to wield power and keep martial law and keep them out of power. What happened after January 6th? The military got brought in. The whole building was, like
completely occupied. Yeah.
It seemed like they were using the concept at the time. They were kind of telling you what they were doing, but they were framing it again as the other side was doing it. And the other side is exactly the best way to explain this here, because the deep state, I don't think, is on one side or the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's its own thing. I think it's pretty conclusive at this point.
Yeah,
I'd like to see
Pelosi standing down the National Guard.
Yeah, that too. A lot of
about
that. What's his name? That guy who was saying we're going to go into the Capitol, or he faced everyone else's grandma who sneezed on that day, got arrested and thrown in solitary. Yep. The guy's leading the charge, saying we're going to go into the Capitol, faces no consequences. On top of that, he got like corporate press propaganda coverage afterwards, painting him as a victim of right-wing conspiracy theories. And like, meanwhile, he was supposed to be a Trump supporter, and they hate Trump supporters, but this one they apparently feel bad for because he's being framed. Give me a fucking break. There was so much smoke there. I don't think anything else needs to be really sold or convinced to the viewers of Two Doom Men podcast. Mr. B says, wanting the Departed movie script is going on here. Yeah. This whole thing does
dump the body in the mosh. You dump the body in the mosh.
That's a good point. It does kind of fucking sound like a plot out of the The Departed or one of those movies. Absolutely. Any other thoughts on this?
Reality TV.
You got any other final thoughts on the January 6th story before we wrap it up with tweets of the week?
Oh yeah, dude. There's something's fishy there, bro. 100%. I honestly believe that anything that happens like that's wild in recent events, or whatever happens in the future, that just like things that like you can't even think of that it happens. Like of course they're gonna have their hands involved in that shit. I believe in it.
You don't have a high bar or high up, like your amount of evidence you need is not that high.
I'm tinfoil hat all the way from this point on, dog. There is nothing, it's just a lot of shit, We could get into the Charlie Kirk shit too. You can do a lot of stuff, bro. So it's like there's a lot of things, there's a lot of stories that don't make sense in a lot of these events, and you just like, stop bullshitting us, man. Like that's the reason why people voted for Trump. Stop the bullshit. Stop lying to us.
Yep.
Like just find the truth, accountability. Now you got this chick that all of a sudden worked for the Capitol for what 4 years, and then goes to CIA. Okay, and then you have this program that's matching, and the Blaze conducts the investigation. It goes, hey FBI, hey, we got something for you. You want to check this out? Oh my God, this is crazy.
And it's
we'll take a look into this.
Right, or they confirmed that they were working on it. It's like, oh, okay, so like
they'll be on their desk for the next 50 years.
Were you guys going to do anything? Like even then, like maybe they were working on it, right? And they were working towards a conclusion to the case here. It's like, or would we not have even known about this had not been for the Blaze publishing this?
Yeah, no.
Or are some people in the FBI who are trying to do the right thing getting frustrated with that this is never coming? There's no progression here, and they reached out to the Blaze to give them the information.
This is to try
and mount some public pressure on the thing, which unfortunately has not worked.
No,
we're the only ones at this point even cover this. It seems like, and they're not, and our 50 viewers here aren't going to do anything about it. But at least we said something. So there's that. We're all these years later. We're trying to. We did the weave, Chris and I, the long-term weave on January 6th.
Yep.
Years later, we're bringing it all together.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming to light. Look at that.
Yep. All right, tweets of the week are back. I got 3. 2 of them are topical. 1 of them we're going to end on a laugh, which I know you will appreciate probably more than anyone.
Sir.
My last one, my first one, is by the great Tom Woods. Tom says, is meeting with an Al-Qaeda guy who used to have $10 million U.S. bounty on his head better or worse than having a conversation with Nick Fuentes? And how many ostentatious, I don't even know how to say that, breaking ties posts, ostentatious breaking ties posts can we expect about this? Just curious. Yeah, Trump met with Jelani, whose new name is now Al-Shara, the other day, and I don't see anyone really freaking out about that the same way that they're freaking out about Tucker Carlson having a conversation with Nicholas Fuentes. Say what you want about Nick Fuentes. Maybe you don't like him. Maybe you don't like his opinions, whatever. He never was in Al-Qaeda, right? This guy was. He's now the president.
That guy was beheading people too, FYI.
Yep.
So how about that?
Don't ever sell your dreams short. Go from head chopping jihadists, like I was saying the other day, to the White House in less than a year.
Durka.
Owen Schroyer says, all right, $2,000 checks to put a down payment on your $500K house that you'll pay $1.5 million for over 50 years.
Yeah, we got to
make America great again.
It's ridiculous.
Look, he's fucking being, he's poking. But God damn it, that is a losing message. That is how people are going to interpret whatever's going on. So if I had to give any advice to Trump's team, losing message. If you're going to lie to us better than that. Yeah, you're not going to win it. You're not going to win at midterms with that. Your base ain't falling for that.
Look at Denise. Tell Powell to fucking lower interest rates then.
I don't know. Interest rates cannot go down further. Free money is part of the problem.
Yeah.
All right. I have to.
It's like Denise. That's not how it works, sweetheart.
Yeah, exactly. All right. This last one, let's switch it up here, is going to be a video. So I kind of have to switch up how I screen share because you got to be able to hear it. And if I screen share that other way, you won't be able to hear it. You'll appreciate this one. You might have actually seen this one. I'm going to be honest. This might have been one of the funniest fucking posts. This is what this says. It's by creepy.org. He goes, this may have been one of the funniest things I've seen on the internet. I agree. This made me fucking laugh so hard unexpectedly. It was just such a goddamn, it's such internet humor. You'd probably get it.
Move, children. Vámonos. Must have been something you said. I just died in your arms tonight.
Oh man,
I love the people who get creative like that. Yeah, I love how people are like, all right, I gotta make this into a meme.
Yep. That was from Signs, man. I'm sure everyone who watched Signs, a lot of people have watched Signs, know that exact moments when he sees the alien. That just fucking, that reaction fit so perfectly with the dress of Sydney Sweeney that happened last week that lit up our own group chat.
Yeah, where her fire. Yeah,
where her boobs were kind of visible. It meant, my God, that's just one of those moments where like internet humor, just solid, smart, funny humor, unexpected. Great fucking video. Whoever made that, kudos.
Excellent.
Yep. All right, that's the show. Why don't you plug everything you want, whatever it is. What are you up to? You got the studio set up there yet, or still?
Yeah, we're all set up. I'm Bob the Builder over here. Actually, we're trying to get a bookshelf back here. She's got the
upgrade. He's got a production team now.
Yeah. I got a production team. She's my producer. Yeah, we're operational. I'm trying to be consistent as possible. Like, try to go on it every day if I could. But yeah, I just started playing Arc Raiders. Hell of a fun game, extraction shooter. So check it out. I'm on YouTube, Twitch, Kick at Kriz, KRYZ, or Kriz Gaming, whatever it is. Come stop by. Appreciate you for having me. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Thank you for filling in for the captain. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Sick and all. Kriz made it. Happy birthday again to the captain. We'll see you Saturday.
Happy B-Day.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Adios.
Yes, sir. Later.